Hi everyone, welcome back to the MNS Cards YouTube channel. My name is Michael. I am a full-time Pokemon seller, and today I'm going to talk about some of the things that I've been weighing on potentially opening up my own website. So I could barely sleep last night. I was just running through this in my head on what it would look like, how would I do it, would it make sense, is it something that I want to consider? So this video is going to be a lot of me rambling about my thoughts and how I could possibly see myself doing this. By the end of it, I may talk myself out of it. I may be fired up and ready to do it. So stick around. Who knows where this is going to go? And please feel free to leave me any feedback on the things that I talk about, because that could drive my decision on if I think it's a good idea or bad idea. You may think I'm crazy, say, oh, this will never work, and that's fine. Like sometimes I just need that feedback. Or you could say, like, oh, I could see how this would work. It's going to take a lot of time and effort. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like I'm leaning towards probably doing it, but I know that it's going to be a huge time sink and I'm going to have to get some things in place before I'm able to do that. So this is going to be me just kind of talking through that. So right now I primarily sell on eBay, and it's mostly singles and graded cards. That's what almost all of my listed inventory is. So with that, I don't think that those would sell on my website. I don't think that I can drive the traffic to buy everything from PSA 9, 10 modern cards. Like eBay has so many buyers on it that I think for something like that, I have not seen a whole lot of people be successful selling those on their websites. There are the really big websites like Safari Zone, and I think Danny Phantom has a website where he will sell singles, and I think that does great for them, but they have a huge audience, and credit to them, they've built that and they now have a website where they can move those products, so that's great. I think it works well for them, but for me at my size, that's something that I don't think I can do. So I'm going to have to change my business quite a bit potentially if I do move forward with opening up just my own website. And what I would primarily sell is sealed product. So I don't have an English distributor, so this would be primarily me doing the legwork to source from Japan, import it, handling all of that process on paying the customs and making sure that the product's getting to me, making sure that I have a reliable supplier and that they're not selling me counterfeit products, not resealing products. Like I'm taking on a lot of the risk, but I think that that's something that I'm able to do, and I think that I can make it work. So the website would be just sealed product. I may list up some graded cards or some ungraded cards during or just over time if I have multiple duplicates and I'm looking to sell them, but primarily it would be just selling sealed product. And I think the biggest challenge I'm going to have is being able to drive customers to my store. I've talked about in videos where I believe eBay is a great value for what it is. I pay them a fee for them to bring millions of people onto the platform who are willing to buy cards, and I'm happy to pay that with the graded cards and singles because I think that there's margin there that it makes sense for me. But with these sealed products, I can't be paying eBay the 11 whatever percent fee that I am right now. Like it wouldn't make sense. I would make almost no money, sometimes break even, sometimes make a little bit of money, but it would not be something where I could afford to be doing that. So it would be primarily my responsibility to get people to my store. And that's something is I was thinking through how would I do that? Like I don't want to just build an audience so that I can sell them something. Like if you're coming to my website, I want it to be something where there's a value add to you. And that may be that you've seen me on here and you've watched me do my business and you trust me. And that's great. Like I think that trust is a huge value add. You know that if I'm bringing in product and selling them to you, I'm going to back it up. If there's ever an issue with something being resealed, like I'm going to back the product that I sell 100%. So you'd reach out to me and we would be able to work through that. And it can't be something where if you didn't get any or the hit you expected to in a box that I'm going to be backing that up. But it is something where like I think that it is, or I believe it to be a genuine product. I'm selling it to you at a fair price and we both leave happy and you're happy with the experience. I'm happy with the experience. Like that's something that I think I can build over time. Another thing I think about is right now, all of my capital for the business is tied up in graded cards and raw cards and inventory on its way to me. So I'm trying to figure out like I'm going to need a decent amount of capital to make these purchases from Japan. Like for me, for it to make sense for me, I'm going to have to buy at least 20 boxes every single time I do that. So boxes in Japan are selling for anywhere from $80 to $120. So multiply that by 20 and you can see like that's money that I'm going to have to risk to send to Japan and have them send me the cards. So that's a little daunting. And there's things you can do like pay with PayPal goods and services, but as a buyer, I have to eat that fee when I'm purchasing from Japan. So it eats into the margin a little bit, but hopefully over time I'm able to build a relationship with a distributor over in Japan and I can start paying with Wise where I wouldn't have to pay that extra. I think PayPal's like 3.5%. So starting out, I'm happy to pay that. I need that trust and make sure that I'm actually able to get the product that I'm purchasing from the Japanese distributors. So that's something that I'm just going to have to take the risk on, and that's money that I'm not going to be able to be putting into my grading plays. So I mean, it's takes away from the business a little bit, and I don't know if I'm going to see a return on that money, honestly. Like, I could order 20 boxes, get them over here, and they just sit on the website and never sell. And I end up having to sell them on eBay for a lower price just to move them. And I make no money. And I put the time into starting the website. And I mean, that's just the risk I have to take. So those are some of the things that I'm weighing right now. And I also talked about like adding value. Like, do we need another website that sells Pokemon cards? There's a lot of really great websites out there with people who are doing really good business and probably at a larger scale than me so they can get it cheaper than me. So is it something where I can provide enough value where I'm able to compete with them and I don't have to be selling $10 million a year like I think Pokey talked about? That's how much he did, and that's great for him. So is it something where I want to try to compete with that? Is it something where it would make sense for me? And I don't know. That's something I'm weighing right now. Like if there's really good people out there doing great business and they're able to have their customers and they're happy, like why is someone going to want to buy from me? And that's, I mean, I think that a lot of it is just building trust with people who hopefully watch me every day and hopefully build a following, and it can be a win-win for both of us. And right now, I think I have like 101 subscribers on YouTube. So thank you if you are one of those. I really appreciate that. I have, I think, probably like 800 and some over on Instagram. And I have a small TikTok that I don't really post to that often. So is it something where the people who follow me on those platforms would be willing to buy Japanese boxes from me? It's something they're interested in, and it's something that I can provide value for them. I don't know. Like, that's something where I'm going to have to take a sort of a leap at the beginning where I have to purchase the products. Like, I will not sell something that I don't have in hand. So I have to make that risk of buying those boxes, getting them in, and then list them and try to drive people to the website. So there is a little bit of risk there, and I understand that, but it is something I'm leaning towards. I want to try to do that to see if I can. And I don't think that I could do it right now. I think that I need to get a lot more active on social media and trying to get followers, put my name out there, my face, and show you some of the things that I'm doing with my business or just in my life. And hopefully we can build some trust where if you're seeing me and you know that I'm doing all this business on eBay, then you say, hey, you know what? He's has really good feedback on there. He does a lot of transactions. I would be willing to buy from his website. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm trying to think through how I can build enough of an audience that would be interested in that, and it would be a value for both of us with me having my own website. So just a few other things that are downsides or risks that I've really been considering is everything right now is set up for me to sell through my eBay. So I'm going to have to take the time to look into Wix and Shopify, see what works best for me. All of my packing materials are for graded cards right now. Like, if I'm going to be shipping booster boxes, I don't want them in padded envelopes. Like, I'm going to have to buy specific boxes that fit the Japanese booster box size. And you've got high class boxes and main release boxes. So I'm going to have to figure out how I want to do that. Am I going to need bubble wrap for those? Am I going to want packing paper? Is it something where I'm going to have to buy an entire pallet of boxes for it to make sense? So that's something I need to start pricing out boxes a little bit better. I have some idea of what it's going to cost, but I think that I need to look at what order quantity can I do, and is it something where if this absolutely flops, I can still use them to ship my graded cards and singles so it wouldn't be too big of a hit. But there's quite a bit of a size difference between a Japanese booster box and a graded card. So I'm just going to have to look at that and see what the most efficient way to do that would be. And I mean, it's one of those things that the more I talk about it, like I'm going to have to dive head first in a lot of ways into doing this. And I mean, it's just a risk of time and the money it takes to get started. But like that's any business, you have to spend money to make money, and I understand that. So those are some of the things that I'm weighing. Another risk is part of the fees that you pay to eBay is it puts them between you and the customer. So right now, if there was a chargeback on an item that I sold on eBay, eBay has covered me, and I've been charged back for $1,000 card on eBay, and they didn't make me refund that. Like eBay, I don't know if they ate the cost or went and fought it, but it was something where I showed that it was delivered to the authenticator, and eBay was like, "Yep, no more need to show us anything else, like we're closing this dispute in your favor." But when you have your own website, if someone does a chargeback, then that's something that you have to handle, and you almost never win the chargeback disputes. Like credit card companies are very favorable to their customers, so if they have someone that says that you scammed them or they never got the product or whatever it is, like you just kind of have to eat that if it's your own website. And another thing that I know I'm going to have to deal with is if I get big enough, then I have to start dealing with collecting and remitting sales tax. eBay handles all that. This is built into their fees, and that's one of the things that I'm really happy that they offer. But when you have your own sales tax, if you hit Nexus in certain or in any state, then you have to start collecting and remitting sales tax to those states. And there's a program out there that will handle that. I think it integrates with Wix and Shopify, but it's another cost and it's a pain. So that's something where I have to keep an eye on it, that if I start getting enough sales that I can need to be starting to collect sales tax, then I have to start integrating another program, and that just takes more time to learn that and make sure I'm doing it correctly. And since I am in Kansas, then I'm pretty sure any sales that happen in Kansas, I already have to collect and remit sales tax for. So that's something I need to look at. Like, is there a way for me to just turn on sales tax for Kansas customers in Wix and Shopify, or do I need to somehow block sales in Kansas for the time being until I can get that up and going? Or is that even an option? I really don't know. That's more investigation that I'm gonna have to do. And I'm not going to go to jail because I did tax evasion or anything like that. So I need to make sure that all my ducks are in a row before I flip the switch to go live. And then I put myself in a little bit of a pickle because Kansas sales tax is 10%. And if I'm not collecting that, like that's pretty much going to eat up all the profit for anything that I sell in Kansas. Granted, Kansas is not a very big state. The population isn't very big, but I don't want to have any sales where I'm going and having to collect sales tax after the fact, because that's poor customer service. I wouldn't do that. I would just have to eat that cost and handle it myself, and that's something where I don't want to pay that extra cost if I don't have to. So I mean, that's just going to be some of the learning that goes along with this. Another thing is I'm going to have to learn a whole new market. Like, I primarily bought and sold Japanese up until the tariffs went in, and I was really in tune with a lot of things happening on the Japanese market, but right now I'm pretty much all English. So is that something where I'm going to have the time to be able to keep up with my graded cards on the English side and having to monitor the Japanese side for booster box prices and try to keep those straight and make sure that I'm not getting underwater on Japanese product, or that the market isn't shifting on the English side and I'm able to keep up with that to make sure that I'm still producing enough revenue from the graded cards? Or is this something where it's going to take so much time away from my graded cards that I'm going to just miss out on a lot of opportunities? Like, I understand that having a whole new website, it's going to be taking up a lot of my time, and that's fine. I'm willing to commit that time, but I don't want it to absolutely sink the other part of my business right at the beginning when I know that the website isn't going to be sufficient enough for me to make enough money to replace what I could be losing on the graded cards. So just trying to figure out what is the balance there. And the other thing that I think about a lot is like I'm doing pretty well with graded cards. Like I'm very happy with the where things are. A lot of that has to do with the market, granted, but I think that I've learned over the years how to be able to make plays in the Pokemon market with grading. So is that something where I just need to put more time and effort into that and try to iterate things that I know that I've somewhat successful at? And or is it going to be something where the graded plays just disappear over time, grading becomes less popular? And I mean, I think people are always going to be wanting to open cards. So am I going to, is it less risky to give up some of the grading plays right now to build this sealed business? Or is grading going to explode into the future? Like, it's already very popular, but it could always be bigger. I think most of the people in the Pokemon hobby are still not collecting graded cards, so I think that there's opportunity for growth. So am I going to have something where I put a whole bunch of time and effort into trying to get Japanese boxes sold on a website, and grading takes off even more, and I just miss out on huge opportunity? I really don't know what the market's going to do. No one does. So those are some things that I'm just going to be weighing. Ideally, I would like to be able to continue with some of the graded plays when they make sense and have the website going, but I mean that's a lot of time. But I come back to the market's really great right now. Who knows how long it's going to last? I probably just need to suck it up and grind a little bit more and put in more time and effort. Like, there's not a whole lot of opportunities in life where the market is this hot. So I'm leaning towards I just need to suck it up. I need to work harder, and I can relax a little bit when the market cools off and there's just not as much opportunity out there. So I've talked through a lot of my thoughts on mostly the negative side, but I want to talk a little bit about the positive side. Like, I think one of the benefits is that when I'm sourcing right now, it's a lot of graded cards. I have to get them in. There's grading misses. There's cards that I have to sell raw. You have to deal with some of the inconsistencies with PSA, where you think you're going to get a submission back of 70%, or like me, you get it back and it's about 50%. And that takes a pretty big hit at times. So at least when I'm sourcing booster boxes, it's something like it's a consistent product. I know what I'm getting in every time. I can sell it as a consistent product. Like, a sealed booster box of Mega Dream is a sealed booster box of Mega Dream. But when I'm buying a raw Dragonite EX, is that going to be a gem mint condition, a mint condition? Is it going to be something where I get in and it has a crease and I have to spend the time to box it up and mail it back to the person who sold it to me? Like, there's a lot of variability when buying raw cards, but when you're dealing with booster boxes, it's a very consistent product. You know what you're getting every time you hit the buy button. So that just makes doing business a little bit easier, and it's something where if I'm making $5 a box, and I know that that's going to be $5 a box I make every single time, assuming the market doesn't shift. Like, I just have to drive enough traffic to the store that I make $5 over and over and over again. So that's a benefit to me. I feel like I wouldn't have to spend as much time sourcing. It would be more time doing things like this, like making videos, getting my name, my face out there, showing the business operations, and just trying to figure out how I can add value to my customers. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a huge benefit, is just the sourcing side is much more consistent. Another benefit that having your own website is no eBay fees. I kind of talked about this a little bit, but it does not make sense right now to buy from Japan and sell on eBay. The eBay fees eat into it so much. Like, I've been keeping an eye on prices in Japan and what that's selling for on eBay for a lot of the boxes. And most of the time, like, you're making maybe $1 to $2 per box, and that it's just not sustainable. And that's taking on a lot of risk. Like, one lost package of Mega Dream, and they're selling for like $95 on eBay right now. So you're going to have to sell, what, 95 more boxes just to make up for that one box that was lost in the mail. Like, that's just too much risk. It doesn't make sense to sell sealed product from at least my sources that I have in Japan. So I pretty much have to have it on a website. So getting rid of that the eBay fees does make it where it could make sense. One thing I talked about before is that eBay is kind of between you and the customer for chargebacks and things like that. So that is a benefit, but having your own website, like you're much closer to the customer. So I think that there's a little bit of that trust that can be built over time, where if you can build an audience, like right now I have probably a few hundred followers on eBay, but they're not looking at my page on eBay very often. I don't think, like, they're probably going and buying the cheapest one that they can find for a graded card because they know that eBay will probably have their back if something were to happen. But when I have my own website, like, I'm much closer to the customer, so it's them putting their trust in me that I'm going to deliver the product. And there's some people that just don't like to support eBay or don't like to support some of the other websites out there. And hey, if I can provide value to them, maybe it's something where they can find my website and we can both win from it. So when you're buying on eBay, it feels like you're just buying from a nameless, faceless account on there, versus if you actually have to go to someone's website, it feels like you're buying personally from someone. So I think that that can be a huge benefit. And another thing that I think that might make this successful is right now, it is kind of a pain to order from Japan with all the tariffs and everything. And so that's something where I can just add value. I can make it simple, easy. You go to my website, you click, it ships out the next day, and you get your product. And you don't have to deal with all the handling of dealing with FedEx. I mean, sometimes things get held up in customs. Sometimes customs opens the products, verifies that everything's in there. So if you were to buy from my website, you would get the product and not have any of the headaches. So I think that's some of the value that I could add. Well, thanks for listening to me ramble. I am leaning towards this being something that I want to do. I do need to look more into Wix and Shopify, see what their fees are and their store style and what would work best for me. I need to do a little bit more research on getting shipping supplies, and probably mostly just focus on building an audience and people who would be interested from buying from me, and trying to build value add for them and make it be a win-win for me and the customer. So yeah, that's kind of my rant for today. Let me know in the comments. Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think this is a dumb idea? Do you think there's enough Pokemon stores out there already? Am I just a person who just needs to stick to my eBay store? So yeah, please feel free to let me know, but I appreciate your time. I've got things to do. I'm sure you do too, so get after it and have a good one.